Okay, Drawing 3 class, your final project is about surrealism. Um, First of all, make sure you do the assignment where you are just looking up some pictures of surrealist images and figuring out just the basics of what surrealism is. And I encourage you on this project to look online for lots and lots of examples to get some ideas going, because this is a tough one. Um, what I usually do with this project is make it a landscape, and you have to do a surrealist landscape. In this case, I'm going to let you do whatever subject matter you want. It can be a landscape if you want. And the media or medium you can use is also whatever you want, as long as it's drawing media. Virtual students, if all you have at home is the supplies that I gave you, then any of those are fine. Any combination of those is fine. If you're in the classroom, then you can have access to a little bit more drawing supplies. But again, the medium can be whatever drawing medium or combination of those that you want. So I've got a few examples of surrealism here. The two artists that we'll look at are Salvador Dali and Rene Magritte. And there's others, but those are two of the big ones. So notice out in this the burning giraffe painting by Salvador Dali. It's really weird. It's really out there. It's kind of wacko. And that's how a lot of surrealism is. It's something unexpected. It's an alternate view of reality. It's something that you might find in a dream. There's a lot of different ways to describe it. And the subject matter can vary extensively with surrealism. So don't think that any of the pictures that you see on this video are the kind of thing that you have to do. It's just some ideas. And let's look at a couple of these others. So this one, take a look at it. What do you see first? Do you see heads and necks, or do you see a tree and smoke? It's both of those things, but it kind of makes you look twice. This one by Rene Magritte, is a pretty standard subject, a person riding a horse through the woods. But if you look closely, you'll see how this negative space cuts through the horse, covers up the horse. This tree, which should be behind the horse, is actually in front. And so again, it's like reality, but something's twisted, something's different, something's not right. And it's just a different view of reality. I've got one student here, one student example, did this in chalk pastel. And again, it's kind of like a fairly realistic scene, except things are switched, they're flipped. Instead of the insects being in the jar with the kid looking at them, it's the other way around. An alternate view of reality. Here's some more examples. This is a Dali painting called Sleep. You'll notice a lot of his work, if you look it up, has these little props, these little stilt things holding things up. He's known for his vast empty landscapes. There's not much there. A lot of surrealist work has distortion, so this face is definitely distorted and strange. And again, it's something that could be in a dream. If you can think of any dreams that you've ever had that you can remember, maybe something from one of those dreams could work for this project. Here's another Salvador Dali. Really small. Sorry, it's kind of blurry, but this is a pretty well-known one called The Persistence of Memory. And we've got these clocks, like these little pocket watches, and we've seen those. We know what those look like, but here we've got them melting, so it's just different. And this right here is a watch that's not melted. So he's got some of both. And this is like another face, kind of like that first one that we looked at. Distorted face. Got this landscape, which, the landscape on its own looks fairly realistic, but then there's just these weird things happening. Go go to the next one. There we go. This is one by Rene Magritte. This is actually a self-portrait of him called The Son of Man. He's got several similar to this with the green apple. He's used that a lot. The hat, you'll see that in a lot of pictures. This one's a lot more simple, a lot more straightforward. But it makes you think, is that apple actually his face, or like, why is the apple there? That's up for debate. And why won't it let me go to the next one? Yeah, let's try this. Another one by Magritte. This translates to, this is not a pipe. This is not a pipe. But then we look at it and say, well, no, it is a pipe. Why does he say it's not a pipe? Just that thought process and that kind of back and forth argument about whether this is a pipe or not is very surrealist. Not quite like a dream or an alternate reality, maybe some more about an alternate reality. It's just a different way of looking at things. And one more by Magritte. This one's called Time Transfixed. And, you know, we've got this normal looking room, and we've got the train looks realistic on its own, but, you know, a train shouldn't be coming through the fireplace. So it's just another weird thing that could happen from a dream. So your project, your assignment is this time to come up with any kind of image that just at first glance looks kind of normal, but upon further inspection, it doesn't make sense. This is a tough one. This is really not an easy subject or idea to come up with. So that's why I encourage you to look at lots and lots of examples. Look up these two artists online, look up other surrealist artists, and see what they've done. If you really just can't think of something, then try doing a drawing of a landscape, maybe where a tree looks like a tree, but it's kind of in the shape of something else. Or maybe it's a mountain that looks like a person laying down. So it's kind of like both things at the same time. If you really are having trouble, email me, ask me for some ideas, and we can have a conversation about it. So this is your final project. It will count for your final exam grade, and you will have a photo that you need to turn in of your progress by the end of this week, so I can make sure that you are working on it and not leaving it for the last minute. So look for that assignment later in the week. I think if you get a sketch finished and turned in by at least by Wednesday, then you should be on track. But by the end of the week, you should have the drawing actually started. Virtual students, you're going to be using the other half of your colored drawing paper that you have not used yet. And remember, it can be any medium. If you do colored pencil, feel free to make that paper a little bit smaller. If you're using charcoal or something like that, then leave that half sheet of paper the size that it is. Lastly, I want to show you a couple of things about fantasy art. So sometimes fantasy art is confused with surrealism. So I got a couple examples of surrealism here again. Both of these are Dali, Salvador Dali. This one, like anything with fairies or wizards, dragons, unicorns, this stuff is like fantasy art. Okay, it's like make-believe stuff. It's not quite surrealism. So try to avoid stuff where it's just like unicorns, dragons, and wizards and fairies. You know, try to make it something that is real, but it's distorted or it's changed or something about the picture doesn't make sense. If you have any questions, let me know.